Patriots fans, the time for the talk has just about ended. This evening, Friday, August 19th, the New England Patriots host the Carolina Panthers. Preseason Game 2, what to expect? We're going to talk about it today with the legendary Murphy Fisto himself. I'm Mike Debate. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and download, follow, and subscribe to Locked On Patriots wherever you get your audio podcasts. Patriots fans, today's episode is brought to you by Elias. Their app lets you access team and player stats, head-to-head team comparisons. Give yourself the edge this NFL season. Find Elias Game Plan in the App Store or the Play Store today. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining me here today on the pod for this Patriots-Panthers pregame episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. Proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So please reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And also, while you're out there giving some weekend love to that Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. Pats fans, the Pats and Cats were a little cat scratch fever this week. A couple of scuffles broke out on the fields of Gillette Stadium. A lot of action on the field and a lot to anticipate tonight. So when you have a pregame episode and you need the maximum allowable hype for this game, you bring in the only man that can live up to that hype. And not even the hype lives up to him. He is the legendary Murphy Fisto himself, columnist extraordinaire from E2GSports.com. My good friend, the legendary Thomas Murphy, joins me here today. Murph, welcome back to the pod. Always honored, always humbled by your presence, Don Murph.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here, Michael. Always a pleasure to be here. If I don't get to sit down and talk Patriots football with you for at least an hour or so a week, then the week isn't complete, man. This one's going to be fun. We're going to have some fun today.
It will be fun. And folks, thank you for your understanding as we went through a few scheduling snafus earlier this week, but Murph is definitely here. We could not have a week without Murph on this show. I don't even think it's possible. I don't think we're contractually able to even do that. But getting back to where we need to be, my friend, it's always great to have you back. And I'm so glad that you're here on the show today to help break down Pats and Panthers because, Murph, it's going to be a fun one.
I got a favor to ask. Can you talk to the powers that be and get the Locked On theme song made into a ringtone?
Made into a ringtone.
I need that as a ringtone.
Very interesting.
You know,
folks. Absolutely. You know what? We'll pull a few strings.
Buy it for $1 and send Murph 25 cents, man. That's perfect. It's perfect.
How can I refuse this request on the day of my daughter's wedding? Best is your interest. Don't conflict with mine.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I think you know what. It's definitely worth an ask. And you know what? We do get asked that a lot. The theme song is very popular, and our great folks over in the Locked On Studios do a tremendous job of keeping us musically, apt as well. So you know what, folks, we are. We're gonna put this one on the list of must-haves coming down the pike, and we'll see what we can do on that end. But one thing we're going to do, without any question, Murph, is get this fan base ready for some Friday night fights. No, we're kidding, folks. I don't think you're going to see. I really don't think you're going to see any more escalating tensions or anything like that on the field. I do think that you're probably going to see cooler heads prevailing. Matt Rule came out earlier this week and said that he expects to play his second and third stringers. Workload management definitely coming into its strategy. Also mentioned health of his players. Says a lot of his players are dealing with soft tissue issues. Really want to be careful about managing their workload.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are taking the opposite approach. They sat their starters in game one, looking like we're going to see Mac and we're going to see the starting offense and the starting defense coming up in this game. Murph, when you look at the prospect of watching the starting offense, we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. What are you most looking forward to as we approach tonight's game? What's going to catch Murph's sharp eye as we head into this one?
The offensive line. Okay, that's it. That's where the issues that we've all heard about, read about, wrote about ad nauseum over the past 3 weeks, and the issues that have been plaguing this offensive line, getting into, incorporating this new system that Bill wants to go with. I want to see how they react, how much of that stretch blocking system is going to be in use, or whether or not they're going to fall back in this first game where we see the starters into let's dance with the one who brung us. That split. Okay, because it's not going to be strictly one or the other, but I want to see the percentage of how many snaps we are going to be seeing this Shanahan-y type offense, or whether or not we're going to not completely, but fall back to the norm of what we've all seen over the past 20 years here in New England, and how that breaks down. That's the first thing that I'm going to be looking at on the offensive line. The second thing is the running back rotation. Who is filling in for James White for forever? This will be now called the James White role. As a third down back. Those are the two things that I'm going to be looking for on the offensive line on the offensive side of the ball from the get-go.
Yeah, great points. Absolutely great points. And look, I think the third down running back is that's really one of the story I think that is going to come out of this not so much this game, but really out of the preseason as a whole heading into the regular season. Who steps up and takes that mantra? A lot of people are thinking it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know about that. I think Ramondre might end up being a little bit more of a feature. I think Pierre Strong, is that guy for the future, but does he have the wherewithal to be able to take that baton and hold it right now? I think you're going to see a lot of hybrid. I think you're going to see a lot of players kind of taking that role. I think we may see Ramondre get some looks in that area, but we're going to see Pierre get them. Don't be a bit surprised to see guys like Ty Montgomery or Kevin Harris get some play there as well. Ty has had an excellent training camp. I think he's played his way onto this team. And to me, I think that's a really intriguing prospect as well.
I agree, but just to back it up to Ramondre, I think he's looked fantastic in camp. And when I talked earlier about Ramondre taking over this role, it was in the vein that I believe Ramondre is a 3-down back.
Yes.
Okay.
That I will.
He's a 3-down back, people. It wasn't like I'm saying that he is going to come in on third down when it's 3rd and 6 to move the chains. This man is a 3-down back, and we're going to see tonight, hopefully, and going into the future, a nice rotation between 3 people. But Ramondre is a man who can tote the rock in any situation and excel. And so let's pump the brakes on. Well, Murph said Ramondre was the third down back. Ramondre is a 3-down back, not the third down back.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great distinction to make. And I 100% agree with you. There are 3 downs that this guy can definitely play. And bottom line, if you're looking to him to kind of show what James White is leaving behind, and Ramondre can take that mantra, even if it's just for this season, that's a pretty good replacement. Ramondre is someone that is very capable of handling those roles, and they're going to miss James's leadership. They're going to miss James's, field savvy, and we're going to get to those losses in just a moment, folks. But I agree with what Murph said. I'm watching the offensive line tonight as well, because any type of that new Shanahanian, McVayian offense that the
Right.
Patriots are trying to enact, it all begins and ends with an offensive line that can move horizontally, get into position, and show athleticism. If the Patriots show that they can do that, then they can execute this new offense. And I
Right.
think they may surprise a few people in doing it. So we will see. But Murph, it's not just about the offensive side of the ball. There's a defensive
No.
side of the ball in New England as well. And we're looking forward to seeing some of the defensive starters that we didn't get a chance to see in game one against the Giants. Who is Murph going to be watching very closely? And what type of defensive schemes might the Patriots employ? We'll talk about all that and more in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, level with me. We have all been in a situation at some point in our lives when we might be just a little bit tight on cash. Maybe you can only afford a few gallons of gas in your tank, or you got another save the date and you're wondering how you're going to afford another gift. That's where Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that can help you get paid up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift, or catch up on bills. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. There is no interest and no credit check needed, and millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch, then you need some extra help. Download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from the future you. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. That's Dave. Your future you will thank you.
Sorry.
Patriots fans, we are back with the legendary Connor Murphy Fisto himself, the great Thomas Murphy, columnist extraordinaire of E2Gsports.com. And Murph, in the previous segment, we talked about what you're going to be watching this evening when it comes to a offensive standpoint. But Patriots definitely have plenty of questions on defense. Can the linebackers be faster? Can they be quicker? Can they get after the quarterback? Is the defensive line going to step up and be able to set the edge? Can they stop the run? And can this cornerback tandem help to lessen the load of the loss of J.C. Jackson? These are all questions that Patriots fans are having, but it's not all doom and gloom on the defensive side of the ball. There are a lot of things to look forward to. A young linebacking core, and I think a quartet, maybe a quintet of safeties that the Patriots are going to employ that might be the best positional group on the team. Same question I asked you in the previous segment, but only on the defensive side of the ball. When the ball is snapped for the first time tonight, what are you going to be watching as the New England Patriots try to defend against Baker Mayfield, whatever quarterback that the Panthers are rolling out there and the offensive players they're rolling out there? What are you looking for in the Patriots defense?
What the base is going to be.
Hmm.
You know, are we running with a 4? Are we running with a three-man front? How that's going to look. The rotation there. We all know Barmore, Godchow, Wise, and Guy are locks for this roster. I want to see LeBrian Ray, Sam Roberts, how they step up into this rotation, and where Henry Anderson fits in.
Mm-hmm.
How well these guys eat up the opposing offensive front line and allow these young, fast, athletic linebackers to come in and stuff the run. That's what I'm looking for. Who's setting the edge? All right, these are the questions that are going in, have haunted me since the end of last season, when, you know, I hate to say it, the Bills just ran all over the. What we can say was, I don't want to say a decimated defensive front, but definitely a banged up one by the time that that playoff game rolled around, and how they react. You know, we know who's going to be calling plays on the defensive side. The man is brilliant, and I just want to see if these guys are up and ready for the challenge. And it's you got to, as Mike said earlier, the Panthers are going to be running with their twos and
Mhm.
threes. So these guys should, and these ones should be able to step in there and shut them down completely.
Good point. Very, very good point. Because we used that argument last week to kind of quell some of the concerns that people were seeing
Right,
about the Giants and saying, well, the Giants are playing their starters, albeit it's a team that is not expected to compete for a division title in the NFC
right,
East, but they're still professionals. They're still first stringers on a professional team. So how can you gauge, a lot of what the Patriots did well, saying that, okay, well, they did it against these guys and they're the second stringers. Does that mean that their second stringers are capable of playing first string teams? Maybe, but there's also a flip side to that as well. You're playing down
right,
your competition. So it's a little bit of a balance, but you don't get much of an excuse when you're the one that has the A team out there and you're playing the second and third stringers. These guys should be able to blow through them. And that's exactly what I think we're going to be looking for. So that's what I'm looking for as well. We saw Mac Wilson wear the green dot last week. I think that goes back to Juwan Bentley this week, but it will be interesting to see how Mac adapts to being in this defense, because I thought he looked good last week. I thought he showed a tremendous amount of intelligence in this system, and that's something that I don't think he got enough credit for when he was in Cleveland, as being an
right.
intelligent football player that's capable of looking at plays and being able to dissect what's going on. He, I think, has done a good job of that in training camp. I don't know
Right,
how much of that you're going to see tonight, but if we continue to see that, that could be a tipping of the hand that the Patriots have really high
right.
hopes for this kid.
The other thing I'm going to be looking for is who's on the opposite side of Matthew Judon.
Good point.
That's a paramount thing. We all know how great Matthew is, but it's there needs to be somebody on the other side of him. And if it's Anthony Jennings on early downs, Josh Uche, or Ronnie Perkins as the pass rush specialists coming in on later downs, this is going to be something that everybody should be checking out. Everybody should be watching who excels, who does not against this Panthers team, and I want to see how much run the top guys get, as opposed to who Bill is looking to fill in the depth chart behind them.
Absolutely. Yeah, without any question. And there's a lot of questions about who may fill out these depth charts in terms
Right,
of the front seven. Does LeBrian Ray unseat someone like a Henry Anderson?
right,
Is there a power struggle there? Or do both of these guys make the roster? I actually have them both making the roster in my latest
yep,
roster projection, but I don't make those final decisions. Bill Belichick and the Brass does, so they're going to be playing for their jobs tonight. Linebackers, that's a crowded room, whether it comes to Anthony Jennings, Cam McGrone, Ronnie Perkins. Who's going to emerge from that young group to be a part of
right.
that strong rotation? One of
The,
the areas, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, the versatility is going to be a big factor here, as to on the edge. Will somebody, one of the younger guys that's more versatile, push their way onto the roster and maybe push out a veteran that might not be able to do two or three things.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the bottom line. That's something that should be coming, that should come into focus, you know, by the third quarter of this game.
Absolutely, without any question. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of the areas where I think versatility is going to be such a huge part of making this team is in the secondary, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
as a cornerback or whether it be as a safety. There is a
Right,
lot right now that can go on with either one of those units. Now, I know people are looking at the safeties and saying, okay, you've got McCourty, you've got Kyle Duggar, you've got Adrian Phillips. That's as solid
Phillips.
of a
Yep.
trio as anyone. Then you've
Peppers.
got Jabril
Peppers.
Peppers coming
Right,
in. That is a solid veteran. The Patriots
right,
definitely invested in him. They love what they see in him because of the versatility and
right.
the fact that he can play all over that line. That leaves guys like Joshua Bledsoe, Miles Bryant, who
Yep.
is technically a corner, but he's played some hybrid safety
Right,
before. Sean Wade, somebody like that. Obviously, Jawan Williams, Malcolm Butler, they're not going to be there. We're going to talk about those guys in just a moment, folks. But bottom line with the secondary, it may end up being versatility that trumps over everything else.
right.
As good as a training camp that Joshua Bledsoe has had, the versatility that Miles Bryant brings to the table is something that I
Right,
don't think can be ignored. And he's returning punts last week.
right.
This kid is, again, really making a name for himself and proving his worth in so many areas on this team.
I do. You almost have to eliminate safety and cornerback as a position right now. If you want to make this team, they're DBs. It's a defensive backfield.
Yeah.
Okay. And whoever can fill the most roles and do it at a high level are the guys that are going to be here in the end. You know, we mentioned McCourty, Phillips, Duggar, Peppers, and Bledsoe. These are all guys that can play all over the field. And who's going to be that nickelback that we know and can trust? Jalen Elliott and Brad Hawkins, similar spots at wide receiver, you know, like with Trey Nixon. This is going to be something that again we're going to have to focus on. But people, you have to really eliminate the monikers of cornerback and safety right now, and it's really going to be an amoeba defense. It really is.
Yeah, it really is, especially in the defensive backfield, folks, and really all over the defense. So a lot of things to look forward to tonight. Again, it's preseason, and we understand that the competition level may not be what Patriots fans had hoped for, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity to look at some of these players and see who's bringing what to the table and who's making
Jalen Mills has brought a lot
push.
to the table.
He has. Jalen has been.
Jalen Mills has brought a lot to the goddamn table.
Yeah,
excuse me.
Absolutely.
Has brought a lot to the bloody table
yep.
in this preseason. And I have been nothing but thrilled with the effort that he's put in. You know, size doesn't always matter, folks. Mm-hmm. When you're covering somebody like a blanket and you've got hands as quick as Jalen Mills has, you know, it just calm your jets that he's not 6'3".
Well, I'll tell you, he's playing a lot bigger than his frame right now. Going one-on-one with DJ Moore all week long, shutting him down, nearly picking off Sam Darnold the other day. He's playing at a higher level, and you can see the confidence. Yep. It never gets old, folks. It never gets old. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
That's it,
great
man.
stuff. Great stuff. Yep. Cue the Ghostbusters theme. It's almost that time of year, Murph. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Halloween is that close? But what's closer?
The greatest
is
holiday.
Yeah, it really is.
Holiday. I get to dress up and give away candy. It's freaking amazing. I love it. And
you get to hoard all the leftovers. What's better than that?
That's it. But the Patriots have one thing that I got that came out of these joint practices, but besides the Raging Bull crap that happened, was the fact that Sam Darnold's still seeing ghosts. He's still flinching out there. Still flinching.
Yep. Forever attached to that, good, bad, or indifferent. It just it is what it is, folks. And you know what? And we're going to continue to have fun with it here on Locked On Patriots. Do not apologize. It's always good. Anytime we can mention Ghostbusters, but it's great.
He is what I told you he was before the draft that year.
Well, at this point, you know what, with Ian Baker and that competition, I think it's always going to be an interesting thing, but we'll see what happens on the field offensively with the Panthers tonight and defensively with the Patriots. And of course, the converse is true as well. But what do we expect the outcome to be, and which one of the Patriots' losses sustained this week is going to sting the most on the field in 2022? Murph and I will give our musings as we wrap up this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast in just a moment. But first, folks, please be reminded that this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is full of twists and turns, and it's important to show up for yourself through it all. BetterHelp online therapy will assess your needs and can match you with your own licensed professional therapist in less than 48 hours. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. And getting therapy every week is as easy as a few clicks on your laptop or your phone. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp is a great way to invest in yourself. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. And they have a special offer today for my listeners. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/LockedOn. That's 10% off your first month of online therapy at BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOn. Patriots fans, the incredible, the legend himself, the Count of Murphy Fisto, the great columnist from E2Gsports.com, Thomas Murphy, joins me here today, getting you ready for Pats Panthers this evening, Gillette Stadium, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. If you're heading to Gillette, please be safe, please be well, but enjoy the game, and you're going to see some of those starters. So if you're heading up to the stadium tonight, hoping to see Mac Jones, you're definitely going to see that. Three people you won't be seeing tonight on the field, Murph. Three people that the Patriots will not be retaining the services of through, circumstances that weren't unpleasant, but I guess you can say some were.
Yeah.
James White calling it a career after 8 years in this league. There is no one on the planet, I think, that can say a bad thing about James White. Just tremendous, one of the greatest people that I've ever had the chance to cover, and truly a professional in every sense of the word. He'll be missed in the locker room. He'll be missed by the media. He'll be missed by the fans, but his contributions are going to be missed on the field.
Yep.
Two other players whose contributions will be missed on the field, maybe one a little more than the other. Malcolm Butler going down. This was definitely sad to see. He'll be on season-ending IR, suffering a leg injury, and of course, Juwan Williams also suffering an injury that will keep him out for the entire year. Now, Juwan was probably a long shot at best to make this roster, but most people expected that James and Malcolm, if healthy, would be major contributors to this team. Murph, when you look at both of these guys, which one is going to be the biggest loss for the Patriots on the field in 2022?
Well, we saw in 2021 what the loss of James White meant to this offense. It completely stifled. Afterwards, became very predictable. Afterwards, but you and I felt that it was a long shot that he would be back this year. After that injury, we hoped and prayed, folks. I lit candles at mass, and it did not work. And but Malcolm Butler not being in the cornerbacks room. I know what I said earlier about removing the moniker makes this a very young, very inexperienced cornerback group that needed his veteran leadership, that needed his ear to tug on when they were when the youngsters really needed to learn what Bill is asking of his cornerbacks and how they intend to play that position. Juwan Williams, I just, no offense or anything, but he wasn't making an impact. He wasn't. From the moment he was drafted, he was under a spotlight, and he melted. Yeah. It just did not work out here. I know what Bill saw when he looked at his college tape, when he watched him, and what he hoped that he would be able to be in this at the next level. It just never came to fruition. It just never did. And right now, this is looking like the worst draft that in Patriots history. Was it 2018? The 2018 draft is just, a complete 19. Thank you. A
That's
complete,
okay.
Washout. The 4 of the top 5 picks are no longer on this roster, and through hook or by crook, they've moved on from these people. And it's time for the younger guys to step up and see what they're going to be able to do, because Juwan Williams was not able to do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of ways what you saw with Williams was promise that just never got fulfilled. And for any reason, regardless of what that reason may be, I'm not going to sit there and speculate, but I think New England always hoped that he would be a match for their press coverage schemes, and he just never fit into that role.
He just never did.
So Williams, again, that was a long shot. That was probably not going to end well in this situation, especially after the performance on last Thursday. Really, I think opened up a lot of eyes when it came to what the Patriots were seeing in Juwan and how that was going to move forward. Malcolm, I agree with you. The loss of Malcolm is not so much going to be felt on the field as much as it's
Right.
going to be felt in the locker room, and also as a mentor, someone who knows the field very well.
Exactly.
And look, Malcolm is still one of the better zone corners in the league. So, it's not like you're, just losing someone that couldn't play any longer, or he wasn't what he was. There's no question about it. But there
No.
was still a lot of prowess in the zone game, and that will be missed. But the Patriots will be able to, I think, make strides in being able to account for that loss with the youngsters that are coming and playing very well, whether it be obviously Jalen at the top of the food chain and cornerback position, but John Jones being moved over into the perimeter, speed for speed, that's going to be a big motion. And then if you're going to maybe split the time or divide the time, I think is a better way for me to put it, in the slot with Marcus Jones, the rookie, and maybe Miles Bryant coming in to share some of that with someone like a Jonathan Jones or a Terrence Mitchell on the outside alongside Jalen Mills. That's a decent secondary that I think can still win you some games. So it's going to be interesting.
Joneses.
Absolutely. Yep. It's going to be interesting, but really replicating that third down prowess that James White was so good and so effortlessly. And it wasn't effortless. He made it look that way, but it wasn't.
Right.
But he made it look that way in terms of being able to give you those contributions. I think that's what the Patriots may be missing most of all. Who steps up in that role?
Red jacket is coming.
Absolutely.
Jacket is coming.
Without any question. Without any question.
No disrespect
so well deserved.
to anybody that played that role in the past for the Patriots. James White was the best.
Yes, he was.
The absolute best.
He truly was.
He will never be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You cannot write the last 10 years of Patriots history without this man.
Absolutely, without any question. And congratulations, James, on a great career. We'll miss you, but he's going to be a part of the Patriots family no matter what. And I have a feeling that we'll continue to see him active in Patriots alumni and still maybe even see him, visit his teammates on the field from time to time and lend his wisdom and counsel the way only he can. And James White makes a pretty good consigliere, Murph, I think.
Yep, that's it. Sign him up.
Very quickly before I let you go, my friend, game predictions in preseason are usually a futile enterprise, but I'm going to ask anyway. I don't want a final score prediction or anything like that, but do the Patriots get back into the win column tonight, right the wrong that happened last week in the loss to the Giants?
Sure, why not?
Okay, absolutely. Sure, why not, folks? We like it. It's positive, and we're ending on a good note. We always want to try to end on a positive note, and we've done that here today. What can I say, my friend? I am always honored, always humbled by your presence. You're always humbled by your wisdom and counsel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Folks, if you're not already, please follow my good friend right here at TMurph207 on Twitter. All of the great content that he puts out on e2gsports.com, whether it be related to your New England Patriots, your Boston Red Sox, or anything related to Boston sports. Murph is not only on top of it, he's going to tell you like it is, and he's going to give you the inside information that only he can. So a must read, a must follow, and really do yourself a favor. Follow all of the great workers over at e2gsports.com. Those guys are putting out great content, both audio, video, and written. I guess that's 3. That's not both. A plethora of great content there as well. So please be sure to follow that. Murph, what can I say? Honored and humbled as always by your presence. Thank you, Don Murph.
Oh, always my pleasure, bud. Always my pleasure. I even have a NBA column up this week over at E2G Sports where I'm ranting about Christmas basketball. Basketball aren't great. No, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Mm-hmm. Just a little tip of the cap there. I've taken a couple of days off this week due to health reasons, and but there's more coming. Got some Red Sox stuff coming up over the next couple of days. A couple of Patriots articles that are going to go up next week after I witness what's going on tonight. Thank you for always having me here, bud. Always the best hour of my week.
Absolutely. Likewise, my friend. No question about it. You are familia here on Locked On Patriots. You will always continue to be. You are the Don here, Don Murph. So you know what? We always show reverence to the Don. And folks, he's got basketball columns. He's got NBA stuff. He's talking about the first thing. He's talking about the second thing. You can't talk about the first thing. You can't talk about the first thing unless you talk about the second thing. So in any case, bud, thank you so much for joining me here today. And folks, thank you as always for making Locked On Patriots not just the daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, but also hopefully your first listen every day. So now that you've made us your first listen, you're listening to us or watching us heading up to the stadium. Hopefully not while driving, please, folks. Do not do that, and I'm being very serious about that.
Yeah.
But if you're a passenger or you're heading up or you're tailgating and listening to Locked On Patriots, do yourself a favor and check over and head over to Locked On NFL and check out our good friends and colleagues who are bringing you the latest on the very biggest stories in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, they've got it covered, and you're not going to want to miss all of the opinions on Locked On NFL. So be sure to subscribe to, download, and follow wherever you get your podcasts. Until tomorrow, Foxborough faithful, please continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone. On behalf of Thomas Murphy, I am Mike DeBate. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the game tonight.